Hello, hello, and welcome back to our weekly episodes of Passion Unscripted. And today I'm coming back, Irina Portnova with Tobi Staples and Dina Alexander from these sports commercials. But anyways, happy Monday, everybody! If you are watching us live, and or anybody is watching in the replays, but today we have a fun topic to discuss. We had the prior kind of throwing the ideas to each other what exactly we want to talk about, and then the winner was nurturing love and intimacy over time. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. All
Yes,
right, Dina, take the floor.
yes. The majority of couples, when they come to me, they have. Maybe I should use examples. I like to use examples. Okay, so I have recently a couple, 20 years being together. The lady did not know anybody else, no men, no other men in her life. She came from her house, from her nest. She married and get into the marriage with this gentleman. These are very nice people. I can see that they love each other, but the spark has gone. So in this case, and usually it happens, I see you forget the reason why you were in a marriage. Okay, you forget, you cannot, because of changes. You don't understand yourself, and you didn't get the time to get to know yourself. Okay, so that's how I started with this couple. And usually I start with couples. I start with the women, for them to get to know, because women do have changes, a lot of changes during their lifetime, and you forget who you are. Okay, if you didn't get the chance to get to know a teacher or a spiritual person or a friend, a good friend that can teach you that, give you space and nurture that part of you, you don't have it, and you're lost in the rat race, in the kids and everything else. So this is what happened in this particular marriage. So I usually take the woman and I take her from survival mode to goddess mode. That's how I
Mm,
I I I named the process, to tap into the spiritual side in you. Okay, and in the couples, I do test. I use various tests to get back the mojo,
mhm.
um, the fetishes, because the fetish when you started with your marriage is not the same as when you are at this moment. So they realize things have changed, and then you want to explore, and then you giggle, and then okay, then I'll stop talking with that because I shared a lot. No, everything is coming up in Tony and Toby's brains, and Irina's brain. So open floor. What came up during my sharing?
Well, I do have a chance to jump in quickly before I mute myself again. But you know what? You're so right. Everything that you just said, Dina, you just hit the nail on the head every time. You know what? Everybody changes on a daily basis. I know I do. I'm no longer who I was yesterday. So, in any kind of relationship, whether it's a friendship, a romantic partnership, even a business partnership, you must connect and be on the same frequency daily because you each change and grow all the time. So if you don't reconnect and you don't bond on a daily basis, especially in a long term relationship, you are growing apart and not together. It is so essential to keep that flow of connection going as the days go by, because what happens, the gap happens. And that's exactly what Dina was talking about. The gap. You don't know who you are anymore. You don't know who your partner has become because there's no communication. You don't express your needs, your wants, your passions, your dreams, your hopes. Because why? You fear not being accepted, not being approved of, being judged, being denied. You can't do that to yourself. You really have to nurture your bond primarily with you and with your partner. intentionally and on purpose on a daily basis. Irina?
You know what comes to me, like things that really can like really blow on that fire is, business. It's one thing when people just get into the relationship, everything is new, everything is exciting, like how they actually going to communicate with each other, things that they are doing together, sharing, right? And then a life happens, right? Everybody gets busy at work, like especially when people have kids. I remember, like at the young age, I wasn't even for sex at all because I was like so exhausted all the time. I was feeding my daughter every 2 hours since I was breastfeeding. I was the one to wake up at night. So all I wanted to do is just left alone and rest, right? So it's all about the stages that we are going through as well that play the huge part in our intimacy and how to keep that fire going, right? And it's between business, it's between the responsibilities that we have as the parents, as the like as the people who work for somebody, right? As it was for me a while ago. So the idea is sometimes it could even show up as laziness because you are so consumed, your energy is consumed in so many different aspects of life that when it comes to just like physical intimacy, you're like, you know what, all I want just to give my body some rest, right?
May I?
Of course.
You ignited something in me.
I love it.
I love it. You ignited something like me in me, and like, may I? Because I need to share.
Yes.
The most of us do not understand that you were born in a woman's body, for example, to nurture, not to provide. If you should have been the one that is providing, you should have been born in a male's body. It's it's chemical, it's science. It's nothing that I'm like picking up in the air. Okay, so if you are a woman and you are not nurturing everything around you, then you need to be still and learn how to nurture, because by nurturing you will get that business, you will be that better leader, that better supervisor or worker, by nurturing, not by providing. So, and if you're a man and you're listening to this and you are not providing to your surroundings, then you need to sit for a while and check how is the best way to provide. Now I'm opening a lot of Pandora box in you.
Look at Tobi. She's like, she's eager to jump.
Ready to overflow with some wisdom here. I love what you just talked on about the dynamics of the roles, because to be in a real divine counterpart situation, yes, the masculine must be the provider, but what is the initial provision he's supposed to provide? Everybody thinks it's financial, and it's not.
Safety.
It is a woman's ability to be safe and secure with emotional stability in order for her to be of her utmost powerful, nurturing self. If a woman is not provided the stability, structure, love, safety and security, and emotional well-being, well, then she cannot be in her nurturing capacity. So you need to know your role and own it and play it with passion and on purpose, with intention, people.
I love this.
I love it. Irina, before you because I know you wanted to say something, but let me say something on what Tobi just said. I love what you said, Tobi, and I totally agree with that. And I want to add something, because we women, some of us, and I'm counting myself in it, I'm taking full responsibility. We think we know everything sometimes. Okay. And it's big, it's a bigger you when you say, let me sit for a while because I have this in pipeline. I don't know. It's blank. I have a blank mind towards something. Okay. So when we take, but if we don't do that, we take the masculine responsibility. When we don't sit and pray or meditate or breathe, if we don't take a break, you will not be in your feminine energy, which is the one that you should supposed to be working with. Okay, Irina, you want to say something?
Do I? I'm still thinking, what should I say?
Well, I
Sorry.
have something to add then if you're
Yeah,
still
add.
thinking, because you know something, you are so right. I have had to be the provider in my life since the age of like 16. Whether I have mothered children or not. And the men that were in my life, from the two men that I have kids with, 7 years apart, they never provided anything except for chaos, conflict, and confusion. And so therefore I had to be, and I say it all the time, I raised my children being the mother and father for them intentionally. I literally had to adopt different energies according to the role that I had to step in as, because I could not remain in the role simply as their mother. And it is so true. And it forces women into these masculine states of provision where, you know what, like myself, I have a very hard time at this point submitting to anything of a lesser degree at this point, because I am of the magnitude that I am. And it is the wrong type of energy for a feminine to have to embody and endure. It is totally against my physical form. So I get it. I get it. Everything that you talked about. And I wanted to validate for the audience how valid that really was. And to use me as an example, because yes, and I cannot step out of my provider energy until there is that role doing it for me. And then these men step to me and go, well, she's too fucking masculine, too strong, too whoop, because I've had no choice but to be, because there hasn't been a man enough. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it produces a vicious cycle in this world. And actually, all of societal norms have forced the reversal of roles.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love it. I love your passion, Tobi, because in my case, I am a mother. I've raised my kids. They had their fathers, but I was divorced. I'm divorced. So stepping into your masculine and being the provider is a must. Okay.
Yes.
But I had a good teacher, and by guiding me and holding space, that I need to take these breaks, because because you don't have that masculine, you don't have that provider. You need to take that role, but you need to be in your feminine to take that role. And that was what I learned. So I'm not saying I'm what I did is the best. No, but it helped me knowing, hey, I'm tired. I need to take a break. Hey, I didn't have an orgasm for a week. I need to take an orgasm because I need that oxytocin, because it's a bonding chemical, and it will help me go through what my business and everything else better. So I had that teacher alongside me that helped me understand you don't need that masculine provider physical form, but you need to be aware, by not slowing down, you will not be balanced, because you can be in your masculine and in your feminine and be in balance. That's all about what we are talking about here. And going into intimacy. During intimacy, it's good for a woman also to be the one that is the ones giving, because we don't have penises. We are also always the one receiving. But it's good once in a while if a woman is the one that is giving, because then you will be balancing the masculine and the feminine. And that's what we are talking about now. It's good for you to be in that energy, because if you're always in the feminine and receiving, and then you will never be ready and in your feminine providing for your business. So I'm opening space for something else.
You know what comes, something else, what comes to me, I think, like a lot of times it's about the openness, because coming back to that conversation, not too many couples are, like really open to each other in terms what they want in the bed, right? And I think it's more to women related, and Toby was shocked, and but that's true. A lot of women are very close-minded, and men are more on the explorative side, and men are more like willing to try something else, and sometimes they do not even express their desires because they don't want to be rejected, or they don't want to be misunderstood, right? So the idea is it's very important to be open and express what other things you would love to try, like how to ignite something different, like to have the excitement. But again, I want to emphasize, first of all, people have to be in a good mindset, because if, especially for the man, in order to perform, right, they have to be like completely relaxed, because if they emotionally worry about something or something, the deadlines that they have to meet, or like about their bank account or anything else, they won't be able to relax and fully enjoy it. And also it's like both people have to be physically rested before they do something in the bed, right? So the idea is these are the crucial things where we go back to the self-care and really giving yourself enough sleep, enough, nurture your body, and be emotionally and mentally well in order to perform well in the bedroom.
I got to jump in here. Guys, what you got to realize is this: your body has receptors and responses. So if you are always continuously touching and rubbing in the same facet with your partner, your body becomes desensitized to that constant same touch. This is why it's so important that you spice things up, because your body even gets desensitized to it before you do. So that is the first initial state that you got to make sure doesn't happen. You got to keep that spark alive by intention, on purpose, so that your own body doesn't become desensitized to your own partner. People, please,
Yes, true.
throw the excitement in there.
I like it. I like it.
And people may think that there's, oh, you got to go to the drastic listen. There are so many tools that you can use. There are intimacy card decks. There are little fun games to infuse. There are play a game of truth and dare with your partner. There are so many things that you can do to make the excitement come alive. Don't do the comfort of the constant, because you will be desensitized from it.
True. I couldn't have said it better. I love it. What comes to me when Toby was talking, it's about you don't massages.
Yes, I was thinking about massages too. Essential oils.
Essential oils. A lot of massages are not being taught or learned to provide to your partner, and each at their own terms. They have their own terms, because some couples, one of them is the only one that is providing the massages, and it's important because usually in the couples there is one of them that the language is physical touch. And if it's both of them have that same language, perfect. But if your partner's language is physical touch, you need several types of massages foot massage, hand massage, head massage, shoulder massage, you name it, penis massage. Yes. And Irina said something very important just now. For the man to perform, he needs to be in his relaxed state. You know, we women, we have a tendency that think that men should perform every time. What about giving your man a break and you perform? And he needs to just lay there with the penis low, not straight, not erected, and give him some good, loving, intimacy, love.
Some good nurturing.
Yes. we think that we need to have intercourse. It needs to be wham bam, thank you, ma'am. No. That's a way of nurturing and spicing things up. Your man or your woman will come home immediately after whatever he or she is doing outside, because that is where love and relaxation and everything is happening, and that's more worth than money itself, and it's healthy. So ladies, we had a very good conversation today. I loved it.
Yes.
Mhm.
And the time went just 20 minutes just flew by.
I'm grateful for these kind of talks because so many people need to hear it. And you know what? I'm glad that you brought that up, that I didn't. You know what? I really honestly thought that women were as open as I am, but this has been my problem all my life. I believe that other brains work like mine, and the farthest thing from it. I see that on a daily basis more than ever. And so I'm grateful to be with you ladies. I tell you that.
Mhm.
My goodness. And I love the great chats that we have. Guys, you know, I encourage the audience. You guys want to hear any specific topics or you have questions,
Mhm.
please, I encourage you to reach out to us. Send us topics that you'd like us to cover, because like Irina said, I didn't realize that women are so close-minded. And I realized that when I got a comment on one of our episodes, that women really don't talk about the things that we three come out and discuss. So I
Yep.
encourage you all to join in the conversation with us. Give us some topics, give us some questions. As you can see, we can speak freely about anything, no shame, and with love.
Yeah.
Loaded
No
love.
shame, no blame, no guilt.
That's
Because this is part of who we are. You
Yes.
know, if Mother Nature gave it to us, we gotta use it, right? And let's have these conversations because, like I said, how did we get ourselves educated? Like for me, just a quick note, when I was back in Ukraine, you know, like I was raised there, we didn't have like, you know, like this sexual conversation about anything. So it was like, you know, like one friend talks to another friend. We didn't know if this is true or not. And there was like this, you know, like I remember like today there was like this sheet of paper with called, you know, like the first night, you know, of the newlyweds. And it was like going into description, and especially, you know, like woman is describing, because it's for women to go through, you know, like losing the virginity and everything. That was my freaking education.
Mhm.
So just think about it. And in a lot of societies, or even in a lot of families, like you think we are living in the modern society, and you know, like a lot of times we are watching the movies. In the movies, they are showing more than what happens in the real life, right? So the idea is we all want to connect to our intimate parts and to ourselves, who we are, to understand ourselves better, and like really having the, you know, like a good intimacy, actually the great intimacy, because we all can, right? But it's all about starting with opening ourselves up and like really eager and interested to learn and to try and really have the adventure with that.
I got to jump in here and just say, guys, we come from generations before us that there was so much stigma attached to anything sexual that
Mhm.
you need
Yes.
to rid yourself of those generational curses that are still lingering in your mind about stigma and sex. And no, you need to rid yourself of that stuff and explore and learn and discover. Nurture the love within yourself first so that you can be intimately open with anybody else.
Mhm. Absolutely. So, yeah, we are inviting to participate. And like I said, we are happy that people are watching these episodes. That's a good start. But I think, like breakthrough from the comfort level when people actually start commenting and, like putting the discussion topics on the table, because that's exactly what the powerhouse starts, because we are learning and growing together. So, like Toby mentioned, there is not a topic that's gonna shock us. Bring it on, and like if you want to message privately, do that. And if you dare, just comment. And let's have fun together, because life is all about education and having fun.
Amen. I wanted to say something before we close. If a couple that has a long-term relationship and is missing this part, I do suggest to do something to start working on it immediately, because that feeling will not go away. It will
Mhm.
be disastrous if you continue in that state. So I'm not marketing myself. This is my experience, and it's logical. You will not bring that spark if you don't invest in something. So if we don't ignite that feeling of investment, go and search for someone else. Otherwise, you will lose your marriage.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, and there is no point to live the tasteless life.
Yes.
We were not wired for that. So
No.
we have to experience it the best what we can, right? And like live a life, right?
Yes. And you know what, guys? Close the gap in your relationships. That gap is not feeling connected to yourself or denying what you feel and your partner. The minute that starts to happen, you must fix it, because the minute that gap sets in, it gets wider and wider and wider. And what happens in that? Cheating, betrayal, lies, pain, suffering, trauma,
False
and
start.
divorce for many.
Mm,
Don't let that gap set in. Close the gap, people.
yes, true. So true.
Yes, love it. All right, till next week, and looking forward to communicate with you. Lots of love and light, and continue nurturing your love and intimacy, especially if you're in a long relationship and long lasting relationship. All the best, and see you next week. Bye.